My name's Craven. I'm a pre-sales consultant here at Catalyst. I've been using Qlik Sense now for over 8 years, starting as a business analyst and front-end user, like many of you here, and I've not looked back since. I was very fortunate to join Catalyst 2 years ago as a Qlik consultant, building Qlik apps and dashboards for many different customers. And I've now moved into the world of pre-sales along with Marcus and Noel. And I'm here today to basically demonstrate to you the power of Qlik Auto Machine Learning and all of its capabilities. So the goal of using AI and analytics is to help all users and organizations reach their full potential with data. And it's really simple. We want to deepen insight, broaden access and drive efficiency, because deeper insight comes in the form of advanced and predictive analytics, generated simply for the user, but offering powerful insights, and more importantly, explainability. So you can take action and drive the best outcomes. Broadening access means productionizing data, literacy, building it directly into product capabilities, and helping less sophisticated users get answers and make those data-driven decisions. This includes utilizing natural language for search chat, as well as natural language generation to explain charts and analytics. And we want to speed time to value by driving efficiency and offering assistance with traditional manual processes, such as authoring, creating machine learning experiments, data preparation, and so on. Qlik's vision for AI is a uniquely integrated set of capabilities, where we take advantage of our entire data and analytics platform to deliver the most meaningful insight to all of your users. And Qlik offers the most complete solution for augmented analytics, with capabilities that deepen insight, broaden access and drive efficiency for users of all skill levels. Qlik AutoML provides automated creation of machine learning models, predictive analytics, and scenario analysis, specifically designed for analytics users and teams that want to apply the power of machine learning to a broad set of use cases. And with advanced analytics, you can deliver the power of third-party data science and machine learning platforms directly to business decision makers, allowing them to explore calculations in real time through visual dashboards. So what is machine learning? Now, machine learning is a branch of AI, and data science focus on recognizing patterns and drivers in historical data to help predict future outcomes. And it's used in all industries in areas such as sales forecasting, churn reduction, customer acquisition, inventory optimization, spend analysis, and much, much more. And AutoML is also the process of automating the time-consuming and iterative and complicated steps performed by data scientists in the development of these machine learning models. AutoML allows business analysts and analytics teams to apply data science in a simple and effective way to everyday problems. So, what I'm going to do now is demonstrate to you Qlik AutoML using a customer churn example. So let me just set the scene, the task at hand. I'm a business analyst for a mobile phone provider, and I've been asked to understand why our customer retention and our churn has increased by 20% year on year. Now, the customer team, our domain experts, they believe that this is all purely down to price increases, inflation driving customers away. They're pretty certain on that. However, a small number of people believe it's down to our lack of mobile phone plans that we offer. So data allowance, calls and texts. We only have 4 packages. Some believe it might be down to that. My job as the business analyst using Qlik AutoML is not just to sort of understand what's happening and which customers might churn, but it's the why, the explainability. Why do they want to leave? And what can I do to remedy that? Which then makes our customers happy and talks about us in a positive light to other customers. So there's 4 steps we're going to go through. The first one, I'm going to create the machine learning experiment in Qlik AutoML. And then we're going to look at those feature importance, the why, the explainability behind all of this. We'll deploy our model live into production and start to feed in live customer data. And then we'll start doing the fun part, which is reducing the customer churn. So step one, the experiment. So a bit more detail and then we'll dive into it. So we're going to create our first machine learning experiment in Qlik Sense. And we're going to use historic data, and this is the key, historic data provided to us by our customer team. They're the domain experts in all this. That's going to be then put into our Qlik Sense model. So I'm in my Qlik Sense environment. The first thing I need to do is simply add a brand new machine learning experiment. And I'm just going to call this customer churn. The first thing Qlik's going to ask me to do is to add my training data set. So this is the historic data provided to us by my customer team. And I've got that here, the training data, passed to me in QVD format. And as you'll see instantly, Qlik has turned that historic QVD data, transformed it and understood it. It's giving me the data type, string or integer, the feature type, if it's a categorical or a numerical feature. It's giving me an indication of the number of distinct values and any null values, and at the same time giving me a sample and an overview of the data. So as we can see here, we can see our 4 plan types or 4 mobile plans, purple, green, red and blue. And if we scroll down at the very bottom, we can also see from that historic data the number of customers that actually churned. For 456 churned, 2,704 stayed with us. And the first thing that Qlik's asking me to do is to set the target. What do I want to predict? Really simple. It's churned. Now Qlik's automatically selected all the features. For this, I'm not going to use all the features. I'm going to use the 6 that the domain experts have identified as being most important. To do this, I just unselect them all. And the ones they've selected for me are the plan type, as we've discussed, the base fee, so the monthly amount the customer's paying, the number of penalties. Now the number of penalties relates to those customers who they've maybe jumped over their data call or text allowance and they receive a penalty and a much higher charge. The next one is down to service, the service rating and the service tickets. So if a customer rings up and makes a complaint and raises a ticket and an issue, and also how do they rate that service out of 20? And then the last one, customer tenure. How long has a customer been with us? Surely we'll have a bearing on whether or not they will churn. So now on the very right hand side we have a little overview of what's been selected. So we have 22,000 cells now included out of a total of 60. The target is churned. We've selected 6 features and it's a binary classification. So Qlik has identified it's a 1 or a 0, a yes or a no. And now we run our experiment. What Qlik is doing now is passing all of that historic data, 80% of that historic data, through 8 different algorithms to train the model, and then using the sort of 20% it's held out to test and validate itself, to prove its own accuracy in a way. This should take a minute. And right at the very end, what Qlik's going to do is actually give us a champion algorithm, the one it recommends as being the most accurate. And there we have it. Ta-da! So, right at the very top, cat boost classification, top of the list with the trophy. That's the algorithm that Qlik is recommending that we use. Head back just to summarise what we've done here in the first part. We've created our machine learning experiment. We trained our model on the 80% of the historic data that we had, where Qlik held out 20% to sort of test and prove its own accuracy. And then we got a champion, and that was the cat boost classification. So now, the next steps, step 2, we're going to have a quick look at the feature importance. And this is the real key part because it's that explainability piece. It's not just a black box, here's your result, it's the why. So we're going to look at the first thing is permutation. So these are the features or signals Qlik has identified as being most important for getting the prediction out of that model. The next one is SHAP importance, and this is where Qlik really stands out in being able to identify those key features for a customer's decision to churn. And then what we'll do is we'll review what's called the ROC and confusion matrix, which gives us some confidence in the accuracy of the model. So across the bottom, you can see all those 4 panels that we're going to look at. The first one, permutation importance. So right at the very top of the list, it's plan type. So if you remember back to the domain experts, the customer team, they believed it was all the base fee. Well, actually, it's the plan type which is the model's most important feature for customer churning, followed then by a number of penalties, which obviously relates to the plan type itself, followed by base fee. So the top 3 there really stand out compared to the rest. And again, then going to SHAP importance, this is now at the customer level. So these are the key features and influences making a customer decide to leave. And right at the very top, it agrees that it's plan type, giving second most importance to base fee, then tenure, then number of penalties. But both agree it's down to the plan type. The ROC curve on the right on the third chart gives an indication of accuracy. The dotted line represents a flick of the coin, a 50-50 chance if you could just a guess. But actually, this is a much more accurate model. And what the confusion matrix does here, if I expand this out, this indicates where we have, or the models actually managed to predict what's called a true positive. So in 77% of the time almost, it managed to actually predict a customer would churn. And conversely, the true negatives, 96% of the time it accurately predicted if a customer would actually remain with us. So we've got some good confidence in this model. So to summarise, we looked at the permutation importance and the SHAP importance. Both agreed actually the plan type is the most important feature here. And the accuracy of the model was 77%. So we've got good confidence in it now. And that means that we're ready to actually deploy the model into production. That's our next step. And what we're going to do when we deploy it into live and into production, we're going to load in our current existing live customer data. And what we do once we use the model on that live customer data, it's going to generate a number of predictions down at that customer level. And it'll produce for us a set of QVDs, which then, as you all know as Qlik is, you'll be able to load into your Qlik app, interrogate alongside your customer data. So let's go do that. All I need to do to deploy my model, just click deploy. Qlik has already provided me with a title, so customer churn version 1, and that stands for cat boost binary classification. It's even put some description in as well, so I don't have to do anything. I just simply click deploy. And that model is now deployed into production. If I head into here, I can see my experiment I've created and now my machine learning deployment. I'm going to open up my machine learning deployment, and there we have it. Now I need to add in my live customer data, so my current customer information. And all I need to do is just click create prediction. And just like before when we set the experiment up, it's asking me to apply a data set. So I'm clicking apply data set and I have my testing data QVD with all my live customer information at the top. I select this, I give this a new name. So test data underscore prediction seems fine to me, and that will actually come out and be generated into a QVD. I click confirm. It's also giving me an option to run some more QVDs, and most importantly, the SHAP QVD on the right hand side there. That's going to give me my customer level information for me to start making those decisions at a customer level. I'm now just going to save and predict. And that's it. The model's now using all that live customer data, building up some predictions and generating for me the QVDs I need. And that should, fingers crossed, literally take a matter of seconds. There we go, look at that. Now if I head back to my personal space and refresh, I'm not going to press F5 just in case. You will now see I have my SHAP predictions and my testing data prediction QVDs. They're all ready to load into my Qlik app for me to start to interrogate. So back to this, Just to summarise, we deployed the model live, it's in. We loaded in our live customer data, and it's generated for us the sharp and prediction QVDs we need. For the fun part now. We've done all the technical side, let's dive into the app. Let's dive into those predictions. We're going to use the key features to identify at a top level the areas that I need to focus on, and then use a sharp importance to then actually identify those customers that are going to churn. And this is most important, the explainability. What can I do to stop those customers from churning? And what can I do to remedy this to make them happy? So let's dive into it. And in true Blue Peter fashion, for all those that do remember, I have a dashboard created already with my QVDs loaded in. And it's going to load really quickly for me. Indeed it did. So this is my churn summary dashboard. This is going to give me an indication at a top level where I need to focus my efforts. So straight away across the top I can see my average base fee, the current monthly amount the customers are paying, which is £30.55, and my retained average. So to retain a customer, the average fee needs to be £27.76, so slightly below. Maybe some work to do on the base fees. However, interestingly, on average there are 4 service tickets raised by our customers, and to retain a customer they're allowed 6 before they start to become annoyed. So actually on a customer service side we're doing okay, because at the side of that the average customer rating at the moment is 10 out of 20, which is, I wouldn't say it's great, but retained is 10. Anything below that, actually they might decide to churn. So customer services are doing quite a good job at the moment. That's a good takeaway from this. However, the number of penalties on average is 2, where anything above 1 is going to really annoy a customer and they're going to want to leave. So now let's use these visuals below, all visuals, no tables, no data just yet, to see where I should focus my efforts. And it's really quite obvious. Straight away on the left hand side, the red plan, in terms of plans likely to churn, there's a 76% chance of any customer in the red plan is going to churn. Now for context, our red plan is the lowest in terms of data call and text allowance. It's the worst of the worst. Where the green plan is you've got unlimited absolutely everything. Our red plan's a bit of a problem. I could even look at those predictions at territory. Now these are states in America unfortunately, but I can see in our top 10 there's no real standouts. So actually I don't need to focus on any of the territories. It's just plan type here. On my chart on impact on base fee, I actually get an indication of where the sweet spot is. So between 25 and up to maybe £40, the customer's not likely to churn. In fact, 25 to 35 is a real good indicator. When you start getting £40 and above, that's where we're going to have real issues. And also here, to the right of this, we have the brand new grid chart from Qlik, which again gives us those base fees by the individual plan types. Again, real quick way visually to see where my problems might be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the red plan. I don't really need to dive into anything more. So I'm selecting my red plan. And as you can see on the bar chart on the far right hand side, attributed to the most, the biggest driver in terms of feature, the plan type. Certainly stands out as being the big issue. As we can see here down on the right, on the left, sorry, the influence by current plan type. Large data usage on the right is likely to cause a customer to churn. They use the data, they get a penalty, they get annoyed, they're gone. Right, the red plan I need to focus my efforts on. Now, the more funner part from that part, if I go to my next sheet, is what's called my retention dashboard. This is where I get to play around with the visuals, get to play around with the customers, and actually use the API feature to loop these predictions back around. So as I make changes here, this is going to loop back through my churn model, make those predictions again, and actually tell me what I need to do to remedy this. So there are hundreds of customers in the red plan. We can't go through them all. So I've bookmarked a few that I'd like to focus on. The first customer is my favorite customer, AA33376, aptly named. If I select that customer, reset the predictions, and I'll come to that in a minute. So I can see here the model assess saying they're predicted to churn, a 42.24% chance of churning, and yes, they will churn. And I actually now look at the SHAP importance. So if I expand out this bar chart here, again, this is the explainability piece. This is the key part. What is driving that customer to leave? Well, it's plan type, 100%. They don't like the plan they're on. But look at the other side, at the top of the chart. The base fee is a positive for them. It's nothing to do with the price that they're paying. They're just really annoyed with the plan that they're on. So what can I do to remedy that? Well, it seems obvious to me. Let's switch this customer from the red plan and let's put them on the blue plan, the next plan up. That was very quick. That now prediction has gone back through the model, through the API, and it's now telling me that this customer won't churn. It's on the blue pan, they won't churn. But I don't want to just stop there, because if I look at the base fee adjustment simulation here, the larger the bar, the greater it is likely to churn. I can see here at £43 that there's a chance that this customer won't churn. They're paying at the moment, if we look up here, the current £28.61. I'm actually putting them on a better plan, and there's scope to actually drive more revenue from this customer. So I'm going to drag this up to, let's say, £42. Will the customer churn? Will they not? If I'm charging them an extra £12 a month, I would. But no, they won't. That customer and the model and that accuracy we saw and the confidence we've got tells me I can actually put them on the blue plan and increase their base fee to £42 a month. That's a plan, and I submit that to my customer team. So let's move on to the next example. Now I'm going to look at my next favourite customer, which is customer AI, aptly named AI, 37469. At the moment, it's telling me that there's a 97% chance that this customer's churned, or going to churn. This one's going to be a difficult one. So let's select them and have a look. Now I reset all of those variables that I've been using here and playing with. So yep, the customer's going to churn. We'll look at their SHAP importance. And we can see here at the bottom left, the base fee and the plan type are almost equal for this customer. Well, I'm not surprised, because if we look at the top here, their base fee is £49 versus the other customer who's paying 28, and they're on the worst plan possible. This customer needs to be on a much better plan, and as you can see, they've had 4 penalties and 3 service tickets. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move this customer from the red plan to our most premium plan at that price point. Unlimited calls, data, texts. Now they're not going to churn, and I'm certainly not going to play with the base fee at £49. But again, in a matter of minutes, I've made a confident decision to try and retain that customer. So I can move on to the next one. And what I want to show here is it's not just about looking at customers that are going to churn. It's maybe focusing on customers that the model predicts will stay, but they're so close to the tipping point. What can we do to make sure that they actually don't go? And my next favourite customer, YM63532, if I select them, we'll have a look at their feature importance again. Like the first customer, base fee is just not a consideration at all, and we'll come to that in a minute. It's the plan type again. Massively out there is the main driver. Let me reset my predictions. Why is the base fee not a consideration for this customer? Because they're paying £24 a month. They're on a really poor plan, the red plan. They're not, but they're not going to churn. They're okay at the moment. They've had 2 penalties though. I wonder what would happen if maybe they were to have another penalty. Let's say if they got another, okay. Right, on that real low data call and text plan, if they peak and go into and receive a penalty, they might churn. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to put them on the purple plan. Now let's see what happens. Look at the scope I have now to play around with the base fee. The middle chart tells me again, I have a lot of scope here to put them up to maybe where the other customers were at £42. Not likely to churn now. We have confidence in the model, we've switched them up to a much better plan, we've increased the base fee, and in fact, actually, even with 3 penalties, they're still not likely to churn. There's a chance they do get high call and text allowance on that plan, but even if they do go above, even at 3, they're not likely to churn. And that's it, that's just 3 customers. I could sit here all for hours, and I do at home, by the way, for hours playing with these scenarios and different options. So to quickly summarise, because I know we're all itching for dinner, I am, what we've noticed from that information is actually we're providing great customer service. The rating's good, it's in the line where we're going to retain our customers. So that's a great takeaway. The red plan was an issue. The company really needs to go away and look at these 4 plans that they offer. There's not enough and not enough variety. They need to go and review that. But in the meantime, what I was able to do is actually retain hundreds of customers, not just 3, hundreds of customers with a confident model and providing examples of what we can do in terms of the model and even adding value by actually driving additional revenue from those customers. In summary, me as the business analyst, I've managed to retain our customers, make them happy, talk about them in a positive light, all whilst confidently driving additional revenue through the business. And that's customer churn in like 20 minutes. Thank you very much.